Hey everyone, my name's Danny Eddy and welcome to my top 10 riffs that taught me guitar. I was inspired to make this video in response to one that I watched by a guy called Paul Davids. Very entertaining, fantastic guitarist, great teacher. I'll put the link up here, maybe here. So his video covered 10 awesome riffs in order of easiest to hard that taught him to play guitar. So I thought I'd do the same thing. It's great to think back on the guitar riffs that we learned, the things that inspired us and the things that were challenges and the triumphs. My list here is in chronological order, which probably turns out to be easiest to hard anyway, although there might be a surprise or two towards the end. Obviously the opening riff was the fantastic Black Knight, Ritchie Blackmore, Deep Purple. That certainly wasn't the first riff I learned, but it was way back there somewhere. But the reason I chose to open with that one is because that was one of the first pieces of hard rock guitar that blew me away, that blew my mind. I remember seeing a local band playing this on the back of a truck at the end of a street parade, and I was transfixed, and it never left me, and I had to find out what the music was and how to play it, how to make those sounds, and why the guitar sounded so big and nasty. My parents bought me an album called Deepest Purple, a mix of Deep Purple hits, which has just been played so much. I reckon it's about transparent. I remember taking the needle on and off the grooves in that album to learn the songs. So whereas most people learn Smoke on the Water as one of their first riffs, mine was actually Black Knight. Hey, while we're talking about Smoke on the Water, it doesn't go like that. No. No! That's how it goes. Riff number 2 is Black Sabbath by the mighty Black Sabbath. Now, as a young guy in country Victoria, Australia in the late 70s, I was actually quite spooked by the album, by the cover and the sound of the tunes and the heaviness of those sludgy riffs. But anyway, I always remember getting like a PVG printout of the title track, Black Sabbath, and trying to play the riff where it goes into that double time part. And me and my brother, who was learning guitar as well, used to compare notes and try and work out how we could get it quicker and try and get this thing up to speed. It just seemed impossible to us. And I realised in re-looking at it now, he probably played it with economy picking, with downstrokes on the downbeats of those triplet riffs to keep it heavier sounding. Number 3 is Grange by ZZ Top. And again, this was on some mix album that my parents had when I was a kid, and I just could not comprehend how something could sound this cool. It just sounded amazingly cool. One of the reasons I included this one is because I've seen many bands play it over the years, but everyone just thinks of that riff. But for me, the really clever and cool thing about this song is that intro where he does like a little... That makes it. That's the coolest bit of the whole song. The next riff is Thin Lizzy's Chinatown, which again was off some crazy TV special mix album that my folks bought, and again is a distorted pentatonic riff, and again is a shuffle. So hang on, we need a Les Paul for this one. How does Paul do it? The next riff is Hey Joe, Jimi Hendrix's version of Hey Joe. Now, as much as I loved Purple Haze and Foxy Lady and learning all those great Hendrix tunes, this one was where my understanding of theory started to occur, because I just loved the elegance of where he goes into the chromatic riff towards the end of the song. It's elegant. I love it. The chord progression is a C to a G to a D to an A to an E. So C, G, D, A, E. And that riff, which starts on the C and then an E up to the G, the reason I find it so clever is C, E and G are the 1, 3, 5. They're the three notes that make up a C chord. C, E, G. So C, E, G, it's like an inversion of a C chord, and all we're doing is adding a couple of passing tones to move chromatically from the third to the fifth of C. But by the time we land on that, it's the 1 of the G chord. Root, third, fifth, no, 1. Let's go to the third of that, which is G. So we'll do the third, chromatic, the fifth becomes the 1 of the D chord. The third up to the fifth becomes the 1 of the A chord. The third up to the fifth, and we're in E. I could just play it all day. I love it. Number 6, Van Halen, I'm the One. Eddie Van Halen taught me everything. I still rank him among the greatest of all time. I feel like I've spent my entire life being almost able to play this riff up to tempo. Again, it's got that amazing shuffle feel. And I'm playing this on my childhood guitar, a Fernandez Strat, which I used to have the Van Halen stripes stuck all over, of course. Mark Knopfler's Money for Nothing intro. What a genius piece of guitar. Now, I've always had a great ear for music, and to this day, it's something that I do to practice. It's a form of practice for me, is figuring things out by ear and transcribing them. I find it helps me to remember things, helps me to grasp the theory and the ideas behind things. So, as a cocky young smartass guitarist, I felt that whenever I saw another guy or band cover this song, they never did the riff quite right compared to what I thought. I felt like I had it 99 to 100% right. But that was the days before the internet and before you could slow things down and all that sort of thing. So I did a bit of a Google, and once again, Paul Davids, man, this guy has absolutely figured it out down to the finest of fine arts. So yeah, check out his version. But in the meantime, have a look at mine. Another developmental leap occurred when I borrowed Steve Morse's ridiculous album, The Introduction, and never returned it. Sorry, Jack. I spent a couple of years playing the song Cruise Missile in a fusion cover band, and ever since I've used it as a great way to explain theory to students. That galloping riff just blasts through chords in the same way that Hendrix's version of Hey Joe does, with that 1, 3, 5 with the chromatics in between. This one's just at 3 times the speed and many more chords. then I discovered the Chili Peppers with the Mother's Milk. That just blew my mind and introduced me to the world of funk music. So from those guys, I learned about Fishbone, Parliament Funkadelic, the Meters. I mean, that's probably my hugest passion and the most fun music to play for me. But I thought I'd start with John Frusciante. The things that I love about funk are all included in this riff. It's masterful, it's so slinky, and it sounds like it's haphazard, still really clever theory-wise as well. It's and then the chorus. Something like that anyway. So much fun. Man, that guy is just a genius. So that pretty much brings us up to date. So for number 10, I've got Dolly Parton's inimitable Jolene, which, yeah, I know, it's taken me a long time to learn this riff, especially when you consider that I recall putting this on the jukebox out at Yanar pub when I was a primary school kid out there for a cannery with my folks. I don't know. Took me a long time, and it was actually very tricky for me to play. I'm not a great Travis picker, but it's just, I love it. It's a beautiful sounding piece of music. Thanks for watching, guys. Please hit like and subscribe to not miss out on future wonderful lists like this.